And there we go. Morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Happy Saturday. It is a nasty, nasty rainy day here on the East Coast. And if you can't tell from the sound of my voice, I'm still suffering from a little bit of a head cold. Stuffy, nasally. I almost wasn't going to post today, but I know you guys want to hear from me. I don't want to disappoint. So here we are. We're going to get through it. What are we going to talk about today? Well, in our last video, I said I wanted the channel to become viewer-driven. What I mean by viewer-driven, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what comments that you have. I want to hear what kind of thoughts y'all have about, well, anything that I have talked about, or just questions in general about TDCJ, the military, and y'all did not disappoint. I had a fairly decent amount. Not going to make this video too terribly long today, but I do want to get enough content out to answer the questions specifically that ones did leave for me, and to answer some general ones as well. I made a list of notes. Let's go ahead and get started on it. They're not going to be in any kind of order. We're just going to bounce around. Very first question that I got asked. I'm sorry it took a week to actually get to it. Do I know what a Gladiator Unit is? Okay. Basically, a Gladiator Unit is an affectionate term. After this individual posted this question, a couple of viewers started listing Beto Unit, Telford Unit. I think for some reason the Michael Unit got listed. Not really sure why. That doesn't answer the viewer's question on it. The first time that I heard the term Gladiator School was in the academy. It was our last week. We had pretty much finished up all the topics. We were pretty much just chilling, hanging out. Killing time, we had to be there. You had to log the hours. And a recruiter, he was a lieutenant. He had come over from the Mobile Transport Division. Mobile Transport is different than the Mobile Corrections. What is it? Mobile Corrections Officer Unit Team? I'll get to that in a couple of questions later on down the road. Mobile Transport are the ones that drive the buses that transport inmates from different units to different units. And this guy had come in and had asked a couple of individuals specifically, did they want to work transport? Are they interested in it? And then we all gathered up collectively as the class in the room. And he asked, does anybody have a Class B or a Class A license? A couple of hands went up, took their names down, said he was interested in hiring them on as transport drivers. Okay, cool. I kind of tuned the guy out because I didn't have a commercial driver's license, Class C, just drive regular vehicles. So I didn't pay a whole lot of attention. Then it turned into kind of him just bullshitting with everybody, talking about, well, who's going to what unit? I'm going to this unit. I'm going here. I'm going to the Styles. Oh, Styles. Gladiator School. I was like, what? And there were four other cadets that were going to the Styles, and one of them asked, well, what's a Gladiator Unit? I said, man, let me tell you. When I first hired on, the unit that I got assigned to, he didn't tell us what unit it was. Might have been bullshitting. When I first hired on, the unit I got assigned to, the day that I reported, they opened up the doors, shoved us in there, shut the doors behind us, and let us just figure it out. Inmates were running all over the place, beating, banging, hollering. Gladiator School time. And then he answered a couple other questions. I was like, what in the world is this guy talking about? So I don't know how truthful that was to it. The next time I would hear it, the first day that we hired on, once we went to the laundry unit so we could get set up with doing laundry, get our stuff turned in, we were hanging out with two of the laundry bosses. Older guy, older lady, just talking, hanging out, and getting to know each other, new officers, talking to senior officers. I said, hey, boss, in the academy, one of the lieutenants there that came visit us, he mentioned a Gladiator School. Is that what this is? He said, man, how long you been here? This first day, boss. I said, no, it used to be like that. It's not like that anymore. We pretty much got it under control now. I said, well, what was a Gladiator School? He said, That's where shit goes down, man. That's all I'm going to say about it. That was it. He trailed off. I didn't get any other kind of amplifying information. I didn't probe the guy. The best thing that I could describe as a gladiator school is a place where shit, just like the guy said, shit goes down. Fights break out, stabbings, shankings, assaults, suicides, either officer on inmate, inmate on inmate, sometimes even officer on officer. I wasn't in the system long enough. I didn't work at enough different units to really experience what it was. But in it, and there are individuals who can answer this so much better than I can. I'd love to hear from individuals who know or think they know what a gladiator school is, who could answer a different perspective than I can. I'm not the best source of information on it, but my understanding on it is just a place where fights break out just all the time. New inmates report in, they got to get their teeth cut, they got to get set in, they got to get jumped in, they got to get themselves set. They're told, hey, you go hit out on that guy, and they got to do it. If they don't, they catch a beat down. If they don't go after the beat down, they just keep catching the beat downs from that until they either have to get moved out or until the beat down's just not going to happen anymore. So, yeah, it's just one of those places where fights and assaults are random. Now, don't get me wrong. There is no safe penitentiary. There's no safe unit. Every unit is going to have its dangers, its manipulations, and its assaults. The ones that are identified as the gladiator schools, they just seem to happen more often. So, I hope I've answered your question as best I could. Number 2, pay scale. Couple of questions about when do you start getting paid? When is the pay full? What is the pay like in the academy? All those answers are the same. The first day that you report to the academy, day 1, you are a fully paid, fully vested, fully insured, that's going to get hashed out the first week of the academy, fully insured employee of the state of Texas. Whatever your pay scale is, I wrote these down. Let's say an individual hires on as a CO2. 0 to 2 months, this is from the TDCJ website. 0 to 2 months, you get paid $3,472 a month. Now, this is before taxes. Taxes are going to take a big hit, plus benefits, anything that you have taken out of it. An individual, according to the website, an individual who served in the military and was discharged under honorable conditions or has a degree from an accredited college can hire on as a CO4, getting paid $3,776 a month. A lot of the individuals that comment and I talk to in the comments, they're hiring on as CO4s. They have some kind of background experience. The pay scale was different when I hired on. There was a CO2. Anyway, I hired on as a CO3. Back then, someone with no experience, someone who had just graduated high school, 18 years old, they would hire on, and in 9 months, they would make CO3. The only difference in it was the amount of pay that they would make. You would typically get your first paycheck in the academy. I'll answer that as well. I just had a memory jog. Cool, thanks. CO3 started off, I don't remember what the pay was. We'll just say it wasn't what it is right now. It was something around $2,800 a month. And then you minus all your benefits. My paychecks when I first started out were somewhere around $2,200 a month. I didn't have a whole lot taken out for insurance. I had about $15 a month withdrawn for the commissary. So the pay has gotten a lot better. Granted, that was 10 years ago than when I started. So pay is not any different in the academy. It's not less, it's not more. So when you hire on, you'll get paid what the website lists as it is. Once you graduate and move on, that pay is just going to keep going from there. So, what was that question that I had just... Oh, this is why I write everything down. Is the pay any different in the academy? No. Do you get paid? When do you get paid? You get paid on the first around about each month. That's for all state of Texas employees. All right. I think we've covered that point right there. Study material. I had a viewer comment about, is there any kind of study material that's available? This individual sounds like a go-getter and a self-starter. This individual wants to start prepping themselves and studying up ahead of time for the academy so they're prepped for it. Pause for hydration. To the best of my knowledge, no. Now, you can go on Amazon, you can go on Google, and you can Google search offender manipulation, corrections officer training tools. Offenders are going to manipulate regardless. It don't matter if you're in Texas, Wyoming, Iowa, Virginia. Offender manipulation is going to be the same. It's just going to vary from individual to individual. But offender manipulation is the way it is across the board. It's going to be all over the state. There's plenty of books. One of the popular books is The Law of Power, 40 Laws of Power. Inmates read this all the time. It's actually banned in any state of Texas prison. It's not allowed to be in there. It still gets in there. But it lists the 40 Laws of Power, and inmates will use this for manipulation and to get over on individuals. I actually do have a copy of it. I've never read it. To me, it was kind of boring, so I never finished it. But it does have some dangerous tools in it for however you want to read it. Sun Tzu, The Art of War, very popular one. Inmates absolutely love that one. Officers too. Some of the ones that officers can read, The Art of the Con, Offender Manipulation 101. There's all kinds of books written about it. Those would be some of the best tools. If you're concerned about trying to study for the exams, I hate that word because the exams in the academy, they're not like high school or college exams. You can't fail them. The instructor will get you through those exams. You're not going to fail it. The only way is to just get up and leave. I don't think they're a pass-fail basis. I think it's just a tracking tool thing that the academics has to use. The advice that I did give the individual was, get yourself in shape. The individual responded, they are in shape. They play sports. They're physically fit. Good, great. Stay on that. Don't lose that, and that's for anybody. Keep your physical health up. Stay healthy. Working corrections is a very physical job. It's not like in the movies where you see the guy leaning over the bars or hanging out in the cage, just sitting there watching inmates. Man, when I hit Styles, when I got to the SEG unit, your feet were moving the second you hit that pod. And occasionally you get a little sit-down break, but for the most part, man, we were always moving inmates around. It was just rock and roll. I can't emphasize enough physical fitness. Stay with that. I think I answered that. Is there outside study material? Not that I know of. When I went in, we got that red book. The red book was designed for us to read. It would prep us for the next day's material. That way the instructors could present it to us. Other than that, no. Everything's going to be given to you in the academy, and you'll be well prepped when you're in the academy. You'll be well prepped for any kind of academic material. Mobile unit. I get asked a couple of times, what is the mobile corrections officer? When I worked from 2012, 2013 to 15, mobile corrections unit didn't exist. What would happen if a unit was shorthanded, they would put out a request, and officers that were on their off time, they'd get a call that they were to report to whatever XYZ unit. They tried to make it within somewhat communicable distance, so they didn't have to drive very far. I think they might have got some kind of extra pay on their check for mileage or gas, but otherwise it was basically a select and direct. I never had to do that because Styles was never shorthanded. Once you were at Styles, you weren't going nowhere else. You couldn't even hardly get paroled out of Styles once you were there. I tried. So this mobile corrections team, to me, is a new thing. I think it's a pretty cool gig. You get to travel around the state of Texas. get to see different places, you get paid for it. You're not working at one unit so long that you actually get burned out and bogged down. I think it's a pretty cool thing. Barracks etiquette at the academy. More hydration. Man, this congestion is just killing me. We'll get through, folks. I had an individual ask, what is it like living at the barracks? Can you come and go as you please? Is there a curfew hour? All that kind of stuff. The barracks was pretty awful. I was trying to find the word and I couldn't get it in my last video that I did. It's a condemned college dorm at Sam Houston University that was deemed unfit for the college students to live in. It was going to be torn down until TDCJ took possession of it, and they used that to house cadets. It's right down the road from the Walls unit. In the evening times, I'd leave there and I'd walk down the road, and I'd eat at the Walls. Pretty cool place, very historical unit, oldest one in the state of Texas. To anyone that does go to the academy, if you don't stay at the barracks, at least go to the Walls at least one time. It's pretty cool. I wish there were some pictures of it. Can't post that. But to answer the viewer's question, can you come and go as you please? Here's the thing. These rooms were designed for 2 individuals. I believe in the Sergeant's Academy, there are 2 individuals in the room. When you go through the basic academy, there's 8 of you crammed into these rooms. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Think of like a long hallway where the doors are inbound facing, like in a hotel. Let's say there's 5 doors on one side of the hallway and 5 doors on the other. That's 10. There's going to be 8 individuals in each room. That's 80 individuals in a hallway. That ought to violate some kind of fire code. But, whatever. So as far as can you come and go as you please, here's the thing. Most individuals, because you had to get up so early in the academy, we had to be in class by 6 a.m. and the barracks got inspected by this jackass sergeant from New York, tall, redheaded jackass dude. Couldn't stand that guy. Oh, he was Anyway, he'd come by and do the room inspections. You were supposed to be standing outside the room, already dressed out in uniform, ready to go. Sometimes there wouldn't be enough room in the hallway for all of us to stand there. A couple of you would have to stand inside the room. He'd come down, look through the room. He was inspecting it for cleanliness. Beds were supposed to be made. Gear was supposed to be stowed meaning put away. When he went in your room and he left, that's when you were able to leave. And at that point, you better hurry your ass up and get to class. You don't want to be late. That can be docked against you right there. I'm trying to remember. We all kind of went to bed around the same time. Once you were in the room, you kind of all became one. You tried to respect each other's space. Keep in mind, you're in there with 7 other human beings who you don't know. You may not even like some of them. We all relatively got along. I stayed in the barracks for about 3 weeks. I spent the rest of the time in a hotel. I rented it out for a week. I was ready for some better living. If the individual is thinking about can they go do what they want to do and come back around 10:30, 11-ish, everyone's pretty much going to be in bed by that time. The academies were long days. They were full days. They started early. Everyone was pretty tired by that point. So they tried to respect each other's space. You'd start laying down. Some would read books. Others would do their homework. Some play on their tablets. Keep in mind, this 2013. Smartphones were a little bit different back then. And most of the individuals going through didn't have a whole lot of spare cash around. They needed their job. At least the individuals I was rooming with. We'd prep uniforms, we'd iron our pants, iron our shirts, shine boots. Once it was time to bed down, we all kind of bedded down around the same time. We respected each other's space. So, yes, you can come and go as you please, but if you're trying to come back around like midnight or so, you're probably going to upset some of the other individuals. So you just got to try to be respectful of each other's space. You can be kicked out of the barracks. There were two individuals that got into a fight down in the courtyard. There were some racial slurs issued at each other. The major got called out. He called everybody into the little break room area, told us this is unacceptable. We're supposed to be mature corrections officers of the state of Texas. These two individuals will not be back in the barracks, and we didn't see them in class anymore. I guess they either lived far enough away they couldn't drive to get back to class. So if you don't mind your P's and Q's, you can be kicked out of it. You don't have to stay in the barracks. You can stay wherever you want to. It's an option. It's a free place to stay, but you got to respect its boundaries. So I think I've answered that question. That pretty much covers everything on the list here, except for one other question, one that it kind of rings a little bit important with me. I had someone ask, do veterans get treated any differently by inmates? By differently, I'm assuming that the individual means do they get better treatment? Well, yes and no. It all depends. Here's the situation. Military type haircut, okay? When you walk into the unit and you're brand new and you got a military type haircut, you can expect within the first day, probably within the first couple of hours, you're going to get asked the question, hey, boss man, hey, boss lady, hey, you's in the military? Okay, let's role play. Boss man, you's in the military? Nah, man, I ain't never, sir. What you do with that fake-ass fucking haircut then, boss? You trying to show? Whoa, okay, that escalated. Boss man, you's in the military? Yep. Hey, man, what unit you in? Hey, I was with 3rd Marine, 2nd Battalion, Contum 66 over in Vietnam, man. What you serve with? Vietnam? What are you, like 50? Yeah, that war ended in 1975. I don't think that's possible for 66. Point I'm going at it with, they're going to use it as a manipulation kind of a tool. If you say you're not in the military, they're going to keep trying to see if you are by asking you different questions. If you say you are in the military, one of two things is going to happen. They're going to try to identify with you. They're going to say they were in the military. Most of them are lying. Or if they were in the military, it wasn't a very successful career or a tour, or they were separated under other than honorable type conditions, and they're going to use it for some kind of manipulation. They're either going to try to buddy up to you, and then you got the flip side. You're going to have individuals who are either in the military and had a negative experience with it, or even worse, they had a father, a mother, an uncle, a step-parent who was in the military, and they were abusive toward them. And now they blame the whole system on that. And then you got your anarchist individuals. You got your supremacist individuals. Doesn't matter if they're white. They can be black, Asian, Hispanic. You got your supremacist individuals. They're anti-government. They hate anything in uniform. They hate the CO wearing the uniform, especially if that individual was a veteran. You got individuals who lost family members after the 9/11 events or in the Gulf War, and they have resentment toward the military. When they find out you're in the military, they're going to hold it against you. And they're going to try to make life hell for you. So going around toting that you're a veteran, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Obviously, I am one. I love every single one of them, even the ones that aren't. It's not for everybody. They're going to try to make life hell for you. The ones that seem like they're acting buddy-buddy to you because you're toting veteran status, they're going to try and hold it against you at some point. They're going to manipulate you in some way, shape, or form. They're going to get you to let their guard down. And another inmate who's paying attention to it, they're going to try to use that against you. They're either going to write a I snitch form for favoritism, they're going to write a I snitch form for unprofessional conduct, something. Or they're going to wait till you've let your guard down, and that's when the attack's going to come. It's either going to be something physical, or it's going to be some kind of mental manipulation kind of a tool. I say that because I saw it, I dealt with it, I experienced it. I remember the first time I tried to lie to the guy, and that was wrong. Boss man, you in the military? Nah, man, I just like playing a lot of Call of Duty. No. That dude knew right away I was lying to him. So, I can't tell you how to answer the. Actually, I can't tell you how to answer that question. Get asked, are you in the military? Acknowledge that conversation, admit it, own up to it, and move on. Don't entertain further questions. Don't talk about where you were. Don't talk about what you did. Don't say what your MOS was. Keep the conversations TDCJ related. If the questions continues, write the inmate up. Write them up for personalization. Report it to a supervisor. Don't get caught up in that manipulation. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. It gets bad. Okay? Please, please protect yourself. Protect yourselves at all times. All you new guys and gals that are getting ready to go to the academy, man, good luck to every single one of you. I hope it works out for you. I'm looking forward to hearing about the experiences that y'all have. All the ones that are watching the channel, guys, I love every single one of you. Keep these comments coming. I'm going to keep this viewer driven. I've tried to answer everything to the best that I can. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in the next video. Y'all take care. Carter's out.